The night everything changed. Tai sat cross-legged on the clay tiles of his grandmother's farmhouse roof, his 12-year-old eyes fixed on the blanket of stars above. The cool night breeze carried the scent of ripening rice from the fields below. This was his favorite time, when the world grew quiet and the sky seemed close enough to touch. Tai! Come down now, dinner is ready. His grandmother Ha's voice drifted up from the kitchen window. Just 5 more minutes, grandmother. Tai called back, not wanting to leave his stargazing spot. That's when he saw it. A strange light hung in the western sky, too large and steady to be a star, too slow and deliberate to be an airplane. As Tai watched, transfixed, another light appeared beside it. Then another. The lights moved in formation, growing larger as they descended toward Earth. By morning, the world had changed forever. Tai pressed close to his grandmother as they watched the news on their small television. The reporter's voice was tense with barely controlled excitement and fear. Alien spacecraft have landed in over 50 locations worldwide. One of the largest ships has touched down just 10 kilometers from Seoul, in the rural farming district. That's near us, Tai whispered. Ha reached over and squeezed his hand. Will they hurt us, grandmother? The old woman's weathered face was calm as she considered the question. If they wanted to hurt us, child, they would have done it already. These visitors chose to land, not crash. That tells me something. The aliens called themselves the Vex. The news showed grainy footage of tall, thin creatures that moved like walking sticks, their brown, shell-like skin gleaming in the sunlight. They had 4 arms and spoke in a language of clicks and whistles, though some carried translation devices. Unlike in Seoul, where people fled in panic, the farmers in Tai's village mostly stayed. They watched. They waited. They had learned patience from working the land. 3 days after the landing, Tai couldn't contain his curiosity any longer. He took his bicycle and rode to the edge of his grandmother's property, where the land met the main road. From there, in the distance, he could see the alien encampment. Large metallic structures had sprung up overnight like silver mushrooms. Strange vehicles moved between the buildings, and tall fences surrounded everything. It looked both impressive and somehow, temporary. Tai returned every day with his notebook, sketching what he could see from afar. The Vex moved in organized patterns, like ants working together. But something seemed wrong. Even from a distance, Tai noticed that some of the aliens moved more slowly than others, and some sat motionless for long periods. On the 5th day, Tai made a decision that would change his life forever. First contact. Be home before dark, Ha had warned that morning. And stay away from the alien camp. Tai felt the weight of disobedience in his stomach as he hid his bicycle behind a cluster of pine trees. His curiosity had grown too strong to resist. He climbed a small hill that overlooked the Vex encampment, his heart pounding with excitement and fear. From his elevated position, he could see everything clearly. The Vex soldiers moved in perfect formation, carrying long weapons that pulsed with blue light. But Tai's earlier suspicions were confirmed, something was definitely wrong. Several aliens sat hunched over, their 4 arms wrapped around their bodies. Others moved with obvious difficulty, stumbling occasionally. A loud horn echoed across the camp, and the Vex gathered in neat rows. Large containers were brought out, and Tai watched as each Vex took small packets containing what looked like green paste. They ate mechanically, without pleasure. Within minutes of eating, several aliens doubled over. One began walking unsteadily away from the group, heading directly toward Tai's hill. When the alien was far from the others, it collapsed to its knees and made a terrible, keening sound that seemed to come from deep within its shell-like body. Without thinking, Tai slid down the hill toward the suffering creature. He pulled his lunch from his backpack, rice, kimchi, and dried fish that Ha had lovingly prepared. The alien's large, round eyes snapped up at Tai's approach. They blinked rapidly, and Tai could see intelligence and pain in their depths. Are you okay? Tai asked softly, though he knew it probably couldn't understand him. The alien made clicking sounds and reached weakly for its translation device, but its arms shook too much to operate it properly. Tai held out his metal lunchbox. Food? Are you hungry? The alien stared at the offering. Slowly, cautiously, it reached out with one of its upper arms and took a piece of kimchi. It studied the fermented cabbage, then placed it in its mouth. The change was immediate. The alien froze, then quickly took another piece, and another. Within minutes, it had devoured everything in Tai's lunchbox. Its body straightened, the trembling in its arms stopped, and for the first time, it looked healthy. The translation device finally worked. "Thank you," came the mechanical voice, though the alien's natural click somehow sounded grateful too. "I'm Tai," the boy said, pointing to himself. The alien pointed to itself with two arms. "Nix." Neither of them noticed the two taller Vex watching from the edge of the camp. One made notes on a glowing device. The other's eyes narrowed as it observed the human boy who had just changed everything. The Secret Alliance. Tai couldn't sleep that night. He kept thinking about Nix and the way the alien had eaten his food so desperately, like someone dying of thirst finally finding water. The image of other sick Vex haunted him. The next morning, he woke before dawn and went to the kitchen. Ha was already there, her hands deep in a bowl of fermenting cabbage. "You're up early," she said, smiling at her grandson. "Can I help you make food today?" Tai asked, trying to sound casual. Ha looked surprised but pleased. "Of course. Wash your hands first." Together they prepared rice, kimchi, and soup. Ha taught Tai how to pack food so it would stay warm, though she asked no questions about why he suddenly wanted to learn. "I'm going to meet a friend," Tai said as he loaded his backpack. Ha nodded, but her wise eyes told him she suspected something. She had raised 5 children and knew when one was keeping secrets. Tai returned to the hill and waited for hours. Just as he was about to give up, he saw a familiar figure climbing toward him. Nix moved carefully, constantly checking to make sure no one had followed. "You came back," Tai said, standing up. "Yes," Nix's translator hummed. "I wanted to thank you properly. And to ask questions." Tai smiled and pulled out the food containers. "Are you hungry again?" Nix's forearms moved in what might have been excitement. "Yes. The food you gave me yesterday, it was the first time in many days that I felt strong." As Nix ate more slowly this time, savoring each bite, Tai asked, "Why does your own food make you sick?" "Our synthetic nutrition works well on our home planet," Nix explained between bites. "But something in Earth's atmosphere or water changes how our bodies process it. Many of us are becoming weak. Some have already." "Already what?" "Died," Nix said quietly. Tai felt a chill. "Is that why you came to Earth? For food?" Nix shook its head, a human gesture it must have learned from observation. "No. We came because we are refugees. Our enemies, the Krill, destroyed our homeworld. We search for a safe place and perhaps, allies." "Allies?" Tai repeated. "Yes. Because they're coming." Nix looked up at the sky. "The Krill always follow. They destroy everything in their path." They sat in heavy silence until Nix spoke again. "There are others in my unit who are very sick. Could you bring more food?" Tai wanted to help, but he knew his grandmother couldn't feed an entire alien army. "How many are sick?" "In my unit alone, 26. But there are hundreds more in other units across the camp." Tai's eyes widened. "I don't think I can help so many." Nix made a sound like sighing. "Even helping a few would matter. The sick ones cannot fight. If they don't recover soon, they will be sent away." Tai didn't like how that sounded. Then he had an idea. "My grandmother knows how to make large quantities of food. And there are other farmers in our village. Maybe we can help some of your people." For the first time, Nix made a sound that might have been laughter. You are very small to have such a big heart, Tai. Will you meet me here tomorrow? Yes. I'll bring more food. Good. I will bring 2 others who need help badly. As Nix headed back to the camp, Tai spotted the same 2 tall Vex watching from the distance. One nodded slightly. The other turned and walked quickly away. Tai had no idea that he had just started something that would split the alien forces in 2. The divide. That evening, Tai knew he had to tell his grandmother everything. He found Ha in the garden, her weathered hands picking vegetables in the fading light. Grandmother, I need to tell you something, Tai said, looking at his feet. Ha stood up straight, brushing soil from her hands. You've been talking to the aliens, haven't you? Tai's mouth fell open. How did you know? Ha smiled gently. I am old, not blind. I saw you packing extra food, and you've been drawing pictures of them instead of doing your homework. Are you angry? Tai asked nervously. Ha put her hand on Tai's shoulder. No, child. But I am worried. Tell me everything. Tai explained about Nix, about how their synthetic food was poisoning them, and how Earth food seemed to cure their sickness. Ha listened carefully, asking thoughtful questions. We will need to make much more kimchi, she said finally. Tai hugged his grandmother tightly. The next day, Tai brought 3 large containers to the hill. Nix was waiting with 2 other aliens, both visibly weak and thin. This is Lin and Mok, Nix said. They have been the sickest in our unit. Tai watched as Lin and Mok ate slowly at first, then with growing enthusiasm as strength returned to their bodies. It tastes strange but good, Lin said through its translator. My grandmother says it's the fermented vegetables, Tai explained. The kimchi has good bacteria that helps humans digest food. Maybe it helps you too. Mok made a series of clicks that the translator couldn't interpret, then said, we must tell Commander Drav about this. He has been searching desperately for a solution. Nix seemed worried. What about Commander Cole? He will think it's a trap. Who are Drav and Cole? Tai asked. They lead our 2 main factions, Nix explained. Drav is practical and open to new ideas. Cole believes all humans are dangerous and cannot be trusted. There has been tension between them since we arrived. Every day for a week, Tai brought food to the hill. More aliens came each time, all from Drav's unit. Soon there were 10, then 15, all growing stronger and healthier. On the 8th day, a new alien appeared. It was taller than the others, with distinctive red markings across its shell. The other aliens immediately stood at attention. I am Commander Drav, it said, its translator carrying a deeper, more authoritative tone. You are the human child who has been feeding my soldiers. Tai nodded, suddenly afraid. Do not be frightened, Drav said, noticing Tai's fear. I am grateful. Those you have helped are now among my healthiest soldiers. It's not just me, Tai said quickly. My grandmother makes most of the food. I would like to meet this grandmother, Drav said. And I have a proposal. Later that day, Ha proved as brave as her grandson when she met Commander Drav. The alien explained that their scientists wanted to understand why Earth food helped the Vex when their own nutrition made them sick. We cannot feed all our people with just your cooking, Drav said honestly. But if we understand why it works, we might find a solution. Ha thought for a moment. Our village has many farmers. We could teach your people about our methods. But we would need help with the harvest in return. Drav agreed immediately. But their conversation was being monitored. Across the camp, Commander Cole watched the meeting through surveillance equipment, his 4 arms clenched in fury. Collaboration with humans, he clicked to his lieutenant. Drav has become weak. Soon he will compromise our entire mission. What are your orders, Commander? Cole's eyes glowed with cold determination. Prepare the separation protocol. If Drav wants to trust these creatures, he can do it alone. We leave at dawn. The split that would divide the Vex forces forever had begun. The choice that changed everything. Tai woke to the sound of engines and shouting. He rushed to his bedroom window and saw something that made his heart sink. Half of the alien encampment was gone. Large ships rose into the morning sky while others remained grounded. Even from a distance, Tai could see Vex soldiers loading equipment, their movements quick and agitated. "Grandmother!" Tai called, running to the kitchen. Ha was already dressed, her face grave. "I know, child. Commander Drav sent a message during the night. There has been a split in their forces." Within an hour, Nix arrived at their door, its usual calm replaced by obvious distress. "Cole took half our people," Nix explained as they sat around Ha's small kitchen table. "He said cooperation with humans made us weak. He's moved his forces to the mountains, away from all human contact." "What happens now?" Tai asked. "Drav wants to continue our alliance, but we face a problem," Nix said. "The Krill ships have been detected at the edge of your solar system. They will arrive within days. Cole's forces and Drav's forces combined might have been enough to defend Earth. Separated, we are both vulnerable." Ha poured tea for everyone, her movement steady despite the gravity of the situation. "What do you need from us?" "Drav believes that if we can prove the partnership works, if we can show that human food and farming techniques can sustain our people, Cole might reunite with us," Nix explained. "But we need results quickly." That afternoon, something remarkable happened. Word had spread through the village about Tai's friendship with the aliens. Instead of fear, the farmers showed curiosity and compassion. They arrived at Ha's farmhouse with wheelbarrows full of vegetables, fermented foods, and offers to help. Old Mr. Park brought his famous pickled radishes. Mrs. Kim contributed her special soybean paste. Even the teenagers came, curious about their alien visitors. Within hours, Ha's kitchen had become a food preparation center. Vex scientists worked alongside Korean grandmothers, taking notes as they learned about fermentation, beneficial bacteria, and the art of preserving food. "It's working," Drav told Tai that evening as they watched healthy Vex soldiers helping with the harvest. "My people are stronger than they've been since we left our homeworld." But their celebration was short-lived. A communication device crackled to life with Cole's voice, "Unknown ships detected. The Krill have arrived ahead of schedule. They will reach Earth orbit within hours." Tai looked up at the sky, where the first stars were beginning to appear. Somewhere among them, an enemy was approaching that could destroy everything he loved. "Will Cole help us now?" Tai asked. Drav's shell flickered with uncertain patterns. "I do not know. But thanks to you and your grandmother, at least some of us are strong enough to fight." As if summoned by their conversation, a figure appeared at the edge of the farmyard. It was another Vex, but one Tai had never seen before. This one bore Cole's distinctive markings. "Commander Cole sends a message," the messenger announced. "The Krill ships will land at dawn. He offers one chance for reunification. Commander Drav and all human collaborators must surrender themselves to Cole's judgment." Drav stood taller. "And if we refuse? Then you face the Krill alone." After the messenger left, silence fell over the group. Tai felt the weight of the moment. His simple act of sharing lunch had led to this crossroads that would determine the fate of two worlds. "What will you do?" Ha asked Drav quietly. The alien commander looked at the humans who had shown his people such kindness, then at his own soldiers who now stood strong and healthy. "We will not surrender," Drav said finally. "We will fight for Earth as our new home, alongside our human friends. Cole will have to make his own choice." That night, as Tai helped prepare defensive positions around the village, he realized that his story was no longer about feeding hungry aliens. It had become something much bigger, a story about friendship transcending species, about the courage to stand up for what's right, and about how the smallest acts of kindness can change the course of history. As dawn approached and the first Krill ships began their descent toward Earth, Tai stood beside his grandmother and his alien friends, ready to face whatever came next. He had learned that being a hero wasn't about being big or strong, it was about choosing to help when help was needed, no matter the cost. The battle for Earth was about to begin, but thanks to a 12-year-old boy who shared his lunch, the defenders were no longer just alien refugees. They were a united force of two species, fighting together for their shared home. And in the distance, as the first Krill ships touched down, a group of Cole's soldiers quietly left their mountain stronghold, heading toward the valley where humans and Vex stood together. Perhaps redemption was possible after all. The war was just beginning, but so was a friendship that would reshape the galaxy. The end.